persons engaged in LGBTQ remains in full force, ensuring or insisting that you cannot bring a homosexual marriage contracted outside Ghana into Ghana remains in full force as well. So, I mean, everything in there. The major other thing that has been taken out of the bill has to do with what you will call support to persons in the community. Support by way of, in the original bill, we tried to say that, well, we realized that there were people who had needs and needed help to come out and break away from homosexuality. And we talked about approved medical care, in that it's psychological or psychiatric or whatever kind of treatment that they needed, endocrinological treatment or anything that they needed. Now, the issue of that became when someone requests under the law for help, who funds it? Now, the religious bodies are already doing that. The Catholics, the Methodists, the Presbyterians are doing a lot in that space already. And then the Ahmadiyya movement as well. And so the question is, if you put it in the bill, then by virtue of it having cost, you need to set up a fund. In setting up a fund, you have to have the religious authorities put on paper a certain commitment of a certain amount. Now, the challenge with that is the churches and religious bodies are already doing that without any legislation and offering that help. Now, nobody foresaw what happened in 2021 or 2020 with COVID. That led to the close down of churches and mosques. And at times that affects what you call cash flow of the churches or the religious organizations. And so if you locked them in by way of parliamentary legislation to a fixed amount, even when they wanted to do more, they couldn't go beyond that amount. If they couldn't do that amount in a year or two, then it means they have an obligation. So we decided, let's not legislate what the religious authorities do as CSR. Let's leave them to continue doing their CSR, and let's focus on what the real intent of the bill is, the criminalization of homosexuality.
Right. I'm also here with my colleague, William, and he has one last question, and then we'll park it here. I know you have a busy day ahead.
That's fine.
No more. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Onupa.
I just wanted to find out if I read right. The bill has some jail term for offenders. Is it?
It has some what?
Jail term.
Yeah, there are terms of imprisonment.
Okay, but we've also heard reports that the homosexuality is rife in our prisons. So if somebody is a homosexual and is put in prison, what's your comment on that? I mean, that situation.
Well, we've also heard that there's recruitment of petty criminals into hardened crime when they go into our prison.
Yes.
We had people who steal body and Ebro and are imprisoned and mix up with hardened armed robbers, come out, and then they get enlisted into the hardcore armed robbery gangs and all. Will that then mean that our judicial system should not continue?
And that is why we are asking for non-custodial sentences for plantain stealers or plantain thieves.
Well,
is that not why?
Well, yeah, you can make that argument, but don't forget the fact that everybody who commits a crime, whether it is a white-collar crime or anything, gets to mix up with people in there. Ultimately, it is your choice. It's not everybody who is in our prisons who is engaged in homosexuality. You understand me? The suggestion that everybody in our prison in our prisons are engaged in homosexuality is actually not empirically correct. You know, that will be a pushback that you will normally see from the advocates or advocacy around homosexuality today. So in that case, let's not punish them. Well, it's an offense. An offense is punishable. And if the offense for which you were sent to jail, you choose to go and continue committing that offense there, don't forget that while you are in prison, if the prison warden finds you guilty of an offense, they would advise the Attorney General's office to re-prosecute you. That's why people who are in jail and get involved in, the person is in jail serving a 5-year sentence, get involved in a fight in prison and kills somebody in that fight. Even though you are in prison, you get re-prosecuted for the murder of that person. So don't assume that because you're in jail, the laws don't apply there.
Okay.
So if homosexuality sends you to jail and you choose to go and practice homosexuality there again, and the warden finds out and raises a case against you, you would come back as a repeat offender. And this time, your sentencing will be stiffer. So,
Honorable, just so that I understand, but I'm saying that, is it, punishment, but can we cut out jail term so that we don't, pack our prisons, which are already,
Then we can as well say that there's no need for a law.
No, you punish.
The issues.
We're advocating punishment, but not jail term.
So what punishment will you give?
Community service.
We should bring
community service, for instance.
I'm doing community service because I'm a homosexual, and the person who wears around.
Especially when we say some of them have psychological issues. Why not? I mean, if the person is doing community service.
Yeah. So if you have psychological issues whilst you're serving your jail sentence, you will continue to receive treatment.
And then
there are people in our jails who we regularly see at the police hospital who come there for treatment. So it's not as though going to jail is not a life sentence. Even if it's a life sentence that you were serving, the state has a responsibility to you when it comes to your medical upkeep and well-being. So if there are real needs of medical needs, you'll be taken care of.
Okay. But what are we doing about the fact, or if you like, the assumption or the talk that is also rife in our schools, secondary schools and other education? What are we doing about that?
It is not an assumption. It's actually reality.
Okay.
And the next phase of this advocacy, after we pass the bill, is to then start community engagement in conjunction with our traditional authorities, educational services, to ensure that we do proper sensitization in our schools. Because it is so endemic in some of our second cycle schools that they set them up as extracurricular societal clubs.
Oh, wow.
But really what they're doing is they're doing grooming in the school. And if you brought a new student, if you managed to get a new girl in a girls' school to join this club, you got $100, or you got a trip during a vacation. And so basically people...
Or a boys' school.
But yeah, the same thing is happening in the boys' schools, But you bring another student and you get a cash reward. The whole thing is being monetized. And my question is, why would anybody outside of the school system be seeking to monetize the incorporation or inculcation of such untraditional and unacceptable value systems in our children? And that's why we need to take this seriously, both as teachers and as parents. And let me use your network to serve notice to a particular school, Lincoln International School, because we've gotten information that they are actually promoting every Friday. Today is Friday. Every Friday, they hold what they call sexuality classes in their school. They have toilets that they have designated as unisex, where boys and girls, young boys and girls, go into those toilets without any restrictions. And so Lincoln School should be very careful.
Honorable, I just have to also put on record that we don't know about this week. I can't.
You don't know. I'm saying it, and I'm taking full responsibility for it.
So Honorable takes full responsibility. Right.
Let me state on the record that TV3 or 3FM has absolutely no liability for what I'm saying.
I'm
saying it on the record, and I'm challenging Lincoln to take me on this, but we're coming for them. And so you don't worry about anything. I'm putting on record so you have my voice that 3FM has absolutely no liabilities for what I'm saying.
Thank you.
I own what I'm saying, and I'm putting it on record that we're coming for them. And so, and any school in this country that is going to operate under the laws of Ghana and think that they will become a hotbed for the promotion and advocacy of this, we're coming for you.
Honorable, thank you for your time this morning.
Pleasure is mine.
That was Honorable Sam George. He's the MP for Ningo Pram Pram. Joined us on the topic of this controversial anti-LGBTQ bill.